Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to Small Talk. It's been a while since we have met, and a lot has taken place in the economy, in the stock market, in the geopolitical situation, and a horrible incident took place in Pakistan, Swat as well. I'm going to talk about all of those in this video. Maybe I'll make a separate video for stock market, but let's talk about geopolitical situation, economy a little bit, and the policies that are taking place and what to expect from tariffs, etc. So the first thing first, we know there was an Iran-Israel escalation that took place about 2 weeks ago. Israel had attacked Iran while Iran was in talks to make a new deal, and Trump was kind of being a mediator of that deal. And while this talk was taking place, and the next meeting was going to take place 2 days after Israel had suddenly attacked Iran. And once Iran has a policy, when somebody attacks Iran, they always respond back and they always retaliate. And as a result, Iran retaliated back, and they tried to attack multiple locations of Israel as well. And then originally Donald Trump said that he's not going to take part into this war. Then he announced that he's going to bomb Iran. And then he said he's waiting for 2 weeks, giving himself some time to see if he really wants to do this. And then all of a sudden, while he announced that he was giving himself 2 weeks time, suddenly he sent his B-2 planes to attack Iran, and apparently, which I'm not 100% sure if that's true, that they have attacked 3 locations, nuclear locations in Iran, and they successfully destroyed them, which I find is hard to believe because, first of all, the location had to be very precise in order for them to actually go there and precisely attack them, and then be a successful operation is kind of almost impossible. But okay, we all know what happens in the political world, what happened in 9/11, how many fake stories came up, how many conspiracy theories came up. I was actually listening to lots of media anchor persons, and they were like, well, you know, what happened, so but what do you expect next? But my question was, why did Trump attack Iran when he initially said that he will never take part into any wars of any other country, actively or inactively, and his main purpose was to bring peace to the Middle East? And then secondly, he won the election on the campaign that he is going to be the peacemaker in the world, and he wants to nominate himself for the Nobel Peace Prize as well. We all know that our Trump, mashallah, our president, mashallah, say he's very clean person and he has no dark secrets, and therefore he can make those choices. Well, of course, I'm being very sarcastic. As we know that Elon Musk had recently made a statement, it may not be true, but it may be true, that his files are still with the ISI because he was involved in Epstein's, about pedophilia cases and all that stuff. But that could be just a lie, but that could also be a true. We all know that Trump has done things in the past and still does things which kind of doesn't make him come out very clean. He has lots of dark secrets, and I think that's just my conspiracy theory. And I think what happened is Israel may have some of his secrets that they said, if you don't take part and if you don't help us in this war, we are going to release your secrets to the world, and it will take them a minute to impeach you. And I think that's where Trump had decided that he is going to go ahead and attack Iran. So it was like just to kind of, hide his face and then kind of shut the Israeli government up on Netanyahu, so he doesn't just go after him. And it was just to show the world, show Iran that I am standing by Israel. And then after he attacked supposedly Iran, he gave a speech in which at the end he said, God bless USA, God bless Iran, and God bless Israel. If you're bombing a country, you cannot say God bless that country, right? So this whole scenario, this whole situation was very weird. And that's why I am of the opinion, but that's just my personal opinion, that maybe the reason why he attacked Iran was because Israel was probably blackmailing him about some of the secrets that they may have about his past or even his present. And he just didn't want them to come in public because he likes to be this very popular president, and he likes to be the very famous person, and he wants to be the peacemaker, and he wants to be the best president the United States have ever had and the world has ever seen, the president the US never had in the history, and they will never have in the times to come. Anyways, the good news is that the escalation has been de-escalated. The war is over for now, at least. But again, you cannot trust Israel and Netanyahu. You'll be surprised that they're going to make a deal again, and then Israel will go ahead and will attack Iran again. There's a very real possibility. So everybody has to be super sharp, and they have to keep their guards up. Especially Iran needs to keep their guards up, and they cannot trust Israeli government and Netanyahu anymore, because it's not that they have never done this before. They have been doing it. They will do it again, and they need to be just very, go ahead and have talks, have meetings, keep working on the situation and see what happens. The other problem that U.S. and Israeli government had, that they could not find that enriched material uranium that they were looking for. Apparently, IAEA has lost track of it. It's kind of another very funny incident that you were fully involved into the investigation. You were fully involved into monitoring the situation. How could you lose track of this enriched uranium that apparently Iran had? Iran has denied any accusations of developing any kind of nuclear weapon. And even if they were developing a nuclear weapon, why wouldn't they? Israel has it, US has it, so many other countries around them has it, Pakistan has it, and they probably want to have it for the protection of their own borders and their own country. But they also may be telling the truth that they don't have it. They've been doing this since 1995. Israel said, oh, Iran is developing nuclear weapon, and they tried to attack Iran. Then they said in 2005, Iran is developing nuclear weapon, and there was no evidence of them developing any nuclear weapon. And then they tried to do it again this time. And the sad part is the world always falls for their false accusations on these countries. And this Western world is always standing by Israel for whatever the reason, whatever their weaknesses Netanyahu have, I have no idea. And they always kind of go ahead and provide them the military aid, go ahead and actively take part. In this case, what Trump has done, it was just unprecedented. He was not supposed to take actively part into somebody else's war. American taxpayers did not like it. The Senate didn't like it. Congress didn't like it. Nobody was happy about this situation. Nobody was pleased that Trump actually jumped into somebody else's war, which he has no interest in, and he should not have taken interest. In the past, US and US taxpayers have already provided enough military aid to Israel, trillions of dollars. When there's loss of poverty, homelessness, healthcare issues in this country, there are people dying of hunger, there are people who don't have jobs, instead of infrastructure is deteriorating. And here our government and our politicians are just sucking up to the Israeli government, and they're just helping them left and right. We all know that Israel cannot even sustain itself as a nation economically if the US did not help it. So that means that nation is not really even a nation, because some other nation has to come and bail it out every single time it gets itself involved into some kind of nonsense as business. But anyways, I think all the taxpayers are smarter than that. They all understand this, and that's why when Trump attacked Iran, the general public, the common taxpayers were not happy. Ted Cruz was coming up and he was saying, oh, well, we're standing by Israel, and it's our job to protect Israel. No, it's not your job to protect Israel. Your job is to protect the borders of the United States of America. Your job is to protect the dignity and economy of this country. Your job is to protect the hard-earned money of the U.S. citizens and the U.S. Civilians and the U.S. taxpayers. We don't pay tax, so you can go ahead and be the Chaudhry and be the hotshot of the world and try to jump into everybody's business. Sure, do that when you see there is some kind of legit, true real problem that's taking place. But in this case, there wasn't any. Iran had a deal which Trump himself canceled because he wanted to make a better deal. People had problem at that point as well. They were saying, well, you know, there was a deal. At least there was some deal that Iran had to abide by. No, there is no deal. Whereas the Trump supporters were saying, well, the deal that Iran had was just not good enough. If anything, it would have given them more time in the shadow of that deal, that they could just go ahead and work on their enrich more uranium and create more nuclear weapons. So anyways, that's just everybody's perspective. But my perspective is there was a deal, and if you wanted to cancel a deal, at least you should have a backup plan. Okay, we're going to cancel this deal, and right away we're going to present this deal to Iran and say, okay, let's come to the table, let's talk about this. This is the alternative that we have, and then negotiate based off of that. You don't cancel a deal when you have nothing in hand to replace that, and years go by, and suddenly you are talking, and then your buddy or your buddy papa, or I don't know, chote papa, whatever you call him, your baby will just go ahead and attack, your spoiled child will just go ahead and attack Iran, and then you stand up and you support them and waste our tax dollars. That's absolutely unacceptable, and it should not have happened. But anyways, the good part is it's over for now at least, and we're hoping and praying that it will just be over forever. Now, next thing is tariffs. Trump obviously had given this green signal that they are going to be working with China on tariffs, and then they had talks with Canada, and all of a sudden Friday, Trump canceled the talks with Canada on tariff, which market dropped a little bit, but then I guess the investors just shrugged it off and they picked it back up. At this point, I think lots of the people are almost, to some extent, pretty close to getting heavily invested into the stock market. But I was recently reading a survey that there's still lots of money sitting on the sideline which has not been invested into the stock market, and investors are just waiting until the dust has settled. Compared to a few months ago, I think everybody is heavily invested at this point. So once they have all that money sitting on the sideline, once that gets fully brought into the market is going to rally. It has already been rallying. Tesla rallied on the news of robotaxi event. Dan Ives, the biggest bull of the Tesla, said a new era of human history has begun, and Tesla is going to multiply from this point onward. With just human beings are going to see technologies boom and all that good stuff. And he said that, and he raised his price target, and he said Tesla is going to be double the price from that point, the day that Tesla robotaxi event took place. I think it was at $320 or $315, something like that. So he said it's going to be doubled in 10 days, which didn't happen. It did go up 10% in one day, but then it just gave it all back within a week, because their sales in Europe had dropped again for the past month. Tesla is going to announce their deliveries this week. I think it's July 1st or July 2nd. I'm not 100% sure. Just double check me on that. And depending on how well they do, which most likely they're going to have lower deliveries than they were expected. So people are, I think, waiting to see how well Tesla does. Tesla's Model Y is going to be put on hold for a week, the 4th of July week, because there's some maintenance taking place in Austin, Texas facility. That also puts a downward pressure on Tesla. And then we all know the BYD is reporting its earnings this week as well on Wednesday. I'm going to tell you a sad story. I have been holding BYD. I was a small amount invested into it, about $2,500, and my cost basis was $25. I bought it 3 years ago because Warren Buffett bought it. And I was like, I'm going to do at least a safe stock, because Warren Buffett is a very safe investor. I held it for 3 years. The stock will never go above $45. I was sick and tired of holding it for 3 years. And then I sold it finally at $32 not too long ago, a few months ago. And I just never looked, and then just checked back a couple weeks after, and it was up to $52. And then I just stopped looking at it because it was giving me depression. I was like, why I sold this and now it's going up. And then today, this morning, I checked and it was above $90. When for 3 years, it won't move beyond $42 or $45, something like that. So anyways, BYD has ran a lot, about 300% in these past 5-6 months, which is crazy. They're reporting their earning. They are the giant of EVs. And everybody thinks that they're full self, I mean, they're some model, I forgot the name of that model, is a Model Y killer for Tesla, which could be true because, you know, they are doing pretty well as far as the orders are concerned. There's a new company that I was looking at. It's actually not new, it's just an old company, but I never knew about this. XIOM, that's also a Chinese car company. The day they announced their new model, they booked 200 orders within the first 10 minutes. As a result, the stock skyrocketed. That stock is on my radar. I just found out about this company and didn't even know about this company until today while I was reading all the news to make this video, and I realized, oops, that company has gone up 265% in past 6 months. That's also an autonomous car company, just like Tesla. So Tesla has quite a bit of competition in China. Tesla also has competition here in the US because Waymo has been, their robo-taxis have been up and running in Austin, Texas, and they're expanding their business on daily, weekly basis. Uber has made some changes to its cost and its fee structure. So they're going to increase their fares, and they're going to reduce the pay that they pay to the drivers, the old school way of making more money. They're also in talk with the founder of Uber, Travis Kalanick, I think that's his name, to fund the FSD fleet for Uber. I made a video previously a few months ago, and I said I have a feeling that Uber might come up with their own fleet of FSDs, so they don't have to work with all these Uber drivers that they hire, because lots of their business goes to waste because of the Uber drivers when they're not in compliance. Means not in compliance on papers, but their attitude, their behavior, how they treat their customers. They lose lots of money because of that, and their reputation. They always have some kind of news coming up. Oh, such and such Uber driver harassed this person, or try to charge more money to this person, or try to rob this person, or, try to assault this person. So if they have their own FSD, a fleet of FSD, that's going to eliminate lots of problems for Uber, and Uber will, skyrocket. Their fee structure changed. As a result, Uber ran up quite a bit. I made a video a week ago and I said these stocks are ready to run. Shake Shack was one of them, Uber was one of them, and I think Supermicro, and there was one other stock, I forgot what it was. Just check that video. And right that day, the stock was $82. In a week, in 5 days, stock has ran another 15%. It went from $82 to $94.75, I think was the highest price the all-time high that it reached. So if you had listened to my advice, it wasn't personal advice, obviously, but the signals, the sign was there that Uber is ready to just launch and fly. And that's exactly what it did. The highest price target for Uber is $102. And once it reaches that, I think that'll be a good time to take some profits. Unless there's other hot news coming for Uber, then you can hold on to it, because situations change every day in the stock market. That's the beauty and ugly part of it. You can never predict what's going to happen. Sometimes you say, well, the highest price target is $102. Before it reaches there, it will collapse because some bad news came up. Or sometimes you say, well, I just want to take profit now because I have made enough profit. And next thing you know, the stock will get a good news and it will start running. That's what happened to me with BYD. I've been holding it for 3 years. No news, small news. It will just have a run for a few dollars, then it will just collapse again. I was like, you know what? I'm sick and tired of looking at this stock. I'm going to sell this and invest that money elsewhere. And then I sell it. I guess I was patient, but I wasn't patient enough. 6 more months would have tripled, quadrupled my money, and I lost on all that profit. So that's that. And a horrible incident took place in Swat, Pakistan, where a group of tourists, family of some say 15, some say 18, went to Swat, and the Swat River had a quick flood, and they all drowned and nobody came to rescue them. It was a very horrific story. Everybody kept drowning one by one in front of everybody's eyes, and nobody could come to help them. Some of the locals tried to save them on their own personal boats, but the flow was so fast that they could not. The people who were waiting for help, they could not get into the boat, and as a result, they all drowned. There were lots of children, women in that group. Lots of people were accusing the government. Sure, it's a government negligence. Pakistan government is not very proactive and they don't care about human life. We all know this. However, this is not 100% government's fault. The dilemma with Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, all these people is they're blaming everybody else for everything when it's their fault sometimes. They don't want to take the responsibility of their actions. Government had issued warning. They had put the signs on there. They also had fined that if you break the law, you will be charged fine by not following the rules. They said that this area is dangerous. Deaths have happened in the past. We don't allow anyone to go into that area of Swat because it's like sudden flow of water comes and everybody just drowns and buildings collapse and trees fall and all that stuff. And they didn't follow the direction. And it's not like the deaths and accidents have not happened before. The stories exist. There were people who died because the water comes so quickly that you can't even run to the safety. And all these people were sitting there eating their meal, and suddenly the water came, and they tried to help each other, but it was just coming so fast that all those people drowned. We all know as a Muslim that Allah has told us that you have to do your part as a human being that you can do, and then Allah's help will come. But if you're not following the instructions, if you don't care about your life or the safety of your family's life and your children's life, don't blame the government. Yes, once it happened, then the government should have stepped out and be the bigger person, and they should have sent the aid as quickly as they possibly can, so all those people's lives can be saved, and then find them afterwards. But obviously, we know how these government institutions work. It's not only in Pakistan. It happens here in the US as well. I worked for Citizens Bank for 10 years, and I had an office in downtown, and there was lots of state offices around my office. And we had two state employees. So my office was within a Starbucks building. It was a very big building. There was a lawyer's office upstairs. We were downstairs, and there was Starbucks. So there were those state employees. They will come to the Starbucks first thing in the morning. They will sit there, buy their coffee, sit there for an hour and a half, and they'll say, well, this is our coffee break. And, because they used to come there all the time, so we would talk to each other. Then they'll come by at 10 o'clock, and then they'll say, well, this is our morning walk break, and they'll spend another 45 minutes sitting there chit-chatting. Then they'll come by at lunchtime, and they'll say, well, this is our lunch break. So state employees are not hardworking people. They never work this hard. In private institutions, the amount of work that we did as a single person in state offices, maybe 10 people are doing the same job and it's still not getting done on time because they're just taking their sweet time. That's how the governments work everywhere. And particularly governments in Pakistan, the employees in Pakistan, they just come to the office, take their attendance, like I'm here, sign their whatever they have to sign, and then they leave for the day. So maybe when they called the rescue office, nobody was there, and by the time people got there, they were, deaths had already taken place because everybody got there after they died, they drowned, and then they found their dead bodies, and now everybody's doing their salatul janaza and all that stuff, but nobody was there on time to save them. So the government employees need to have some shame and self-respect and make their income halal and tayyib and wholesome, and work on improve their work ethics for the job that they're getting paid for. But that's a different discussion. The main discussion is people should follow directions. If government has done their job, they obviously cannot control the nature. They cannot stop that flow of water that comes quickly in the Swat region. So if they put the signs there, follow the instructions. Don't put your life in danger. Don't put the life of your loved ones in danger. Everybody in that whole group of 15 or 18 people drowned in front of your eyes. You could see videos on social media and mainstream media, and it's so sad. I couldn't sleep all night when I saw that video. At first I was mad at the government and Pakistani, politicians, but then later on I realized, it's really not truly their fault 100%. They're 50-50 responsible for this. So I hope, may Allah bless their souls and they be rest in peace. And I hope Pakistani government will take notice of it, and the Pakistani public will take notice of it as well. And if they see a sign somewhere that government has placed, they will follow the direction, and they will not go into those forbidden areas, and they will stay. There's lots of other places that tourists can visit. It's a beautiful country. You can explore other options. If there's a small place that you are prohibited to enter, don't enter there. It's not worth it. I used to be not very protective, and my husband is very overprotective, and I was like, nothing happened, you're just always worried too much. And he was like, listen, accidents happen only once, they don't happen every day. So just because it hasn't happened until now, that doesn't mean it's not going to happen again. So you have to be careful. It's better than regretting for the rest of your life. And now I understand, because I have seen those accidents. Like, you're doing fine for 20 years of your life. Like, for example, I'm a reckless driver. For 20 years, I've had no accident. I've been doing fine. I was always speeding. Yeah, I got tickets and stuff, but no accidents, none of that. One day I'm driving on an empty highway at 7 o'clock at night, and it was raining. And I'm just driving the way I usually drive, 70 miles per hour. There's no other car on the highway. And suddenly I got into this horrible, horrific, brutal accidents. I thought I am dead. There was a ditch where my car was spinning on the highway, and I thought I'm going to fall into that ditch. And then I started reciting kalma, and I was like, oh Allah, please forgive my sin, la ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. And then suddenly I realized that my car had lots of safety features in it, so it just pushed the brake itself and it stopped. And then 5 minutes later I realized I'm still alive, And then I was like, yes, you could be the same exact person and nothing happens to you, but then that one day, that fraction of a second, that accident could take place, but could change your life completely, for the best or for the worst. In my case, thank God, it changed me for the best, because now I drive very carefully, drive very slow. I don't speed. I try not to speed. And when it's raining, the roads here in Pittsburgh are there are lots of slopes, there are lots of hills, and so I just make sure that I take my time when I'm taking turns, and it changed me for the best. It could have been worse. I could have broken my legs, my spine, or I could have been dead. Even worse. But having said that, just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it's not going to happen again. They have those warnings there for a reason. They've had incidents reported in the past, and that's why they put those signs there. This is a prohibited area, don't enter there. So please follow the directions, people. I beg you, life is very precious. You're never going to come back again, unfortunately. So may Allah bless their soul. May Allah give sabr to their family, and may Allah teach lesson to others who saw this horrific incident took place, and they be careful in the future. Ameen. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the economy of the country. If you watch my videos, I have recorded a series of videos in which I gave the solution to lots of problems. My most recent video that I uploaded, it was about a month ago, in which I gave a suggestion that in order for us to get rid of the state bank, the IMF and central bank and all those things, is that we should start a Sadaqat bank, which is a charitable bank, in which the bank runs completely on charity. Or when people deposit their savings, we charge them the fee instead of we pay them the interest, right? That's halal, wholesome, tayyib way of doing banking. I recently came across an article that Trump is of the opinion that banks, the only way to control or make the economy decentralized and the financial system to be more personalized or individualized or decentralized, is that when banks pay interest to the consumers who make a deposit in the bank account, it should be the other way around. Banks should charge them for safekeeping of their wealth. Just like when we open a safe deposit box to put our valuables in there, we pay the bank whatever the annual fee is. Like, okay, we'll pay this amount of money per year, keep our valuables in the safety box. and we always sleep in peace at night because our homes are not safe, obviously. Similarly, when we put our money into the bank account, instead of bank paying us interest, we will pay bank the fee to protect our wealth. Also, and then that money could be used to lend without interest, And that's a business model that Trump has an idea and some of the other economists have an idea of, and it kind of made me so excited and happy because that idea was not mine. That idea came from the Quran, and I listened to my spiritual teacher. He presented that idea and I decided to make a video on it, and alhamdulillah, that idea is prevailing now in the West, in the US as well. Would it take place or not? Probably not, because these banks are so powerful. Somebody has to actually stand up. It might take a whole generation to get rid of this system, because we all know the fiat money's evil is destroying the world economy, and that money is going to be demolished one day anyway. And that's why I'm very pro Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is going to be the future of sound money. Anyway, that's a whole different topic to make a video on, by the way. So having said that, take control of your finances. Now, what to expect going into next week? I think this July 9th tariff deadline, White House has gave a signal that it's probably not going to be a big deal. It's really not that serious, and we all know this. These are all Trump's negotiation tactics. They're obviously they gave these 2 months for a reason, because he wanted to get a better deal from all these countries. Now he canceled his talks with Canada. They're probably going to come back with a counteroffer, or whatever the case may be. And stock market also knows, we also know our president by now, what kind of mindset he has. He's a businessman. He wants to get the best deals. He's not a politician, So what to expect going into next week? I think next week the market is going to be pretty bullish. I always say that because it's true. We are in a bull market. I'm not going to sound bearish when we're really not into bearish market. There are lots of people who just come up with these, I don't know, they dig out some crazy numbers, and somehow they try to make it look like, oh, everybody thinks that market is so bullish, but we're going to hit recession, and this is going to happen, and that's going to happen. And it has not happened. I've been saying it for over a year and a half that we have already lived through recession. There is no recession. We all see the job reports are looking good. We see the CPI, PPI was great. The inflation is going down. The Fed is giving signals that they're going to cut rates. There's 25% chances that they could cut rates in July, and those chances are increasing every day as we look at the data. We know we have a job report coming up this week again. I believe it's on Wednesday. And we now this new quarter starts where all the companies are going to report their earnings. So that's going to make the market boom again. And I keep saying that I'm a bull because we are in a very extremely bullish market. Small hiccups, small pickup, small pullbacks are obviously very common in the stock market. But we're not in a bearish market. There's no fear of recession. Those people who come up with all these crazy numbers, they just try to sound so smart, but it's really not smart. It's just they're trying to monger fear among all the investors and traders. I mean, investors, the big billionaires in these institutions, they don't care because they understand. But it's the retailers, and we know that since COVID, retailers make a big chunk of the stock market. And when retailers make a move, it does affect the stock market. So yes, I'm bullish. I think Tesla is going to hit. Dan Ives said it's going to be double in 10 days. But I think it's going to be doubled by the end of the year, not in 10 days. Everybody has their eyes on their deliveries. Everybody has their eyes on their upcoming quarterly earnings, and they're also looking to see how well their robotaxi event goes through. We know there were some videos that came out. And then that kind of caused some, pullback in the Tesla stock because it looks like, but it's common. It was the first day. The fact that there was no major accident that was reported. There were a few small errors here and there that were done, like one robotaxi took the wrong turn. It just went to the opposite direction, small things, but being a first day, I think it did pretty good. And it was driving in a very geo-fenced area not too far away. So everybody thinks that Tesla has a long way to catch up, but I don't think they have a long way to catch up. They have some way to catch up, obviously, to Waymo, because Waymo is is expanding very widely, and they're not driving into that geo fenced area. Rather, they have much bigger horizon where they're driving without any support system. But I think Tesla will get there very sooner than people are expecting. So, but it's not as quickly as Dan Ives think. He's obviously very bullish. But 10 days has, this week has already gone, so we're very close to being 10 days. It's not going to double in 10 days, but by the end of this year, most likely it's going to double. So from $321, it's possible that it will go to $600. Uber is also going to keep running. They're waiting for their founder, Travis Kalanick, to fund their FSDs. If that deal goes through and their talks are complete, that's going to give another boost to Uber stock. Their all-time high price rating is $102. If that deal happens and the founder agrees to funding the FSDs, I think analysts will obviously review their price rating, and the price rating will go higher, and as a result, Tesla stock will go higher, which is going to be very good news for Tesla. BYD has been doing well. They're reporting their earning this week. That company has been in profit for a long time compared to other EVs. So I think they're going to go higher. Nvidia made an all-time high this week. Palantir has been doing well. All these being Omega 7. I think Apple is going to be the very big AI company, but they're taking a lot slower than I think they should. They could move a little bit faster and be the leader in that AI side of the business. But I think overall Apple is going to be a very good company as far as the AI is concerned. So that's my thoughts. I'm still holding all my position in Tesla. I wanted to buy some more last week when it collapsed. I went to $320, but I had some system issues and I couldn't do a trade, which is fine because now it's even lower, a couple dollars, so I can add to my position, because I know from now until 6 months from now, I'll be happy that I added to my Tesla position, because I know the stock is going to run, hopefully, inshallah, fingers crossed. Bitcoin did go below $100,000 for a short period in one day. And I had told you last time that it will hit $110,000, then it will go down, then it will go back up again. And that's exactly what happened. It went to $112,000 per coin, and then it gradually just dropped and it went below $100,000 range. And then as soon as things settled with the war and everything, it just went back up. And I think last time I checked today, it was $107,000. So it's been going up gradually. Oil prices were going up during the military escalation of Iran and Israel, but now oil prices have dropped. Also, the 10-year treasuries went down a little bit. I think last time I checked it was like 4.5 maybe. I don't remember because I read all this news yesterday and my mind isn't working. So everything is looking good. We have job reports coming up this week. We have new earnings season start, within a week now. And I think once companies have been doing very well, companies have been very resilient. The everyday consumer has been very resilient. We don't see any sign of recession. PPI, CPI was very good for past 3 months. I think it's going to be as good this month as well. And I think stock market is going to go higher and higher, and we have very well chance that S&P 500 might still hit $6,700 way sooner than the end of the year. I hope. So be very mindful of when you invest your money, and always remember when you panic, the market is turning red. Don't sell your stocks. Not a personal financial advice, but never panic sell. Because you don't lose anything until you sell. But once you sell, you lost your money. So wait for the market to recover, because market will always recover unless you have those dead stocks, which I have quite a few. Then sometimes they just die and they just go to zero. I've had multiple stocks because I'm a very risky investor. My portfolio is very high risk, so I buy into those very speculative stocks, and some of them literally have gone to zero. I can't even take the loss because I can't sell them at zero price, so I can't even write that off in my taxes. That's how bad it gets sometimes. But you know, that's just me. You don't have to be this notorious. You can be a wise, smart investor, just like Warren Buffett, Kathy Wood, all those, you know, hot shots in the financial industries. I hope you like this video. Please give my video a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Please give your comments in the comment section below. I would appreciate your support. Please be safe and take care and make some money.